Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Green Alley Award 2021, our Europe's first startup prize for the circular economy. Today's host is Oliver Balch. Over to you, Oliver.
Well, hello, everyone. The Green Alley Awards 2021. How exciting is this, eh? The time has come. The moment has arrived. Tonight is the big night. After months of speculation, the weeks of tension, the big finale. Believe me when I tell you, you are in for a real treat this evening. We have scoured Europe for the best and the brightest startups in the circular economy space. Our jury has worked tirelessly to whittle down hundreds of applications from across Europe to the final 6. As a journalist writing on these subjects for more years than I care to remember, I hear one word cropping up all the time. That word is innovation. Invariably, it's disappointing. Invariably, that word is empty. Well, tonight's finalists are the real deal, let me assure you. They are genuine innovators with genuinely innovative ideas. Ideas that could well, in the future, enrich them. But ideas that collectively will enrich all of us, our society, leaving us with a cleaner planet, a safer planet, a more sustainable planet. But before we meet our finalists, a word or two from Jean-Patrick, CEO of Landbell Group. Jean-Patrick, now, he's a modest guy. He's a man of many talents also. He is, as you see, a great reader. I know it may look like a fake Zoom background there. It is not, I assure you. Like our finalists, every book on that shelf has been carefully selected and closely studied. He's also a great speaker, yes, a German who speaks the Queen's English more crisply than the Queen herself. And as a business leader, he and his colleagues at Landbell Group have spent years helping companies navigate the complex jungle that is regulatory compliance, an unrelenting task, but an important one. But it is his visionary commitment to the circular economy that merits attention this evening. Way back in 2013, long before the circular economy became a sexy subject like it is today, back when people had never really heard of it, he conceived of these awards, a chance to identify and to celebrate the planet-saving leaders of tomorrow. So Jean-Patrick, the floor, or at least this little circle on the screen, is yours. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Oliver. Very kind words. Welcome to the Green Alley Award 2021, an extraordinary event in extraordinary times. For the first time in our history, we cannot meet in person, and I have to somehow hand over the award virtually tonight. So to stay safe, we all have to compromise, but we also have to continue with our business. And I'm very happy that our finalists did exactly that. They carried on with their endeavors in truly difficult times. Health is key, no doubt, the economy too. But all parts of our society are nothing without a viable environment. We all know that tackling climate change is one of humanity's biggest challenges. The circular economy can contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions substantially. And to achieve zero emissions, we need to manage our resources in a different way. We need business models that use less raw materials, or use raw material that regenerate, or even turn waste into something new, use waste as a raw material. We need products, services, we need technologies that are complement, not detriment to the environment. We need the right regulation from government and the right activities from corporations and companies. I believe in synergies between environmental regulation and economic development. The startups we have here tonight achieve just that. They pave the way to a future where the sustainable production of goods or services is also profitable. When we started the Green Alley, roughly 10 years ago, or when we first had the idea, we had somehow difficulties. It was a small group. We had difficulties finding enough startups that were really in this area. And it's all different now. 10 years later, even Wall Street has discovered the advantages of environmental, social, and governance investing. They call it ESG. They brand it, of course, in a nice way. And boards cannot ignore it any longer, or boardrooms have to accept that. And companies must consider their environmental footprint, their impact on the community, what is happening in their supply chain, or any other social issues. And there are pressures from various sides. One pressure comes from grassroots movements, Fridays for Future, Extinction Rebellion. These movements, they demand the right to a healthy environment for everyone. But there is further pressure from each and every single conscious consumer. People do not want to gamble away their future for the latest fashion, the biggest car, the newest smartphone. They want something else. They want products that are built to last, that can easily be repaired, and ultimately products that can be recycled. In their role as consumers, voters, activists, individuals, they push both governments and corporations. Bill Gates got this very right when he said, consumers will remember which company was serious about helping avoid climate disaster. So even the most powerful corporations in the world, they are powerless against the common will of the citizens. To meet these expectations, companies must change their products, services, and supply chains. And that is where startups can lead the way. Personal motivation of founders is key here. It's key to success. Each great company here tonight starts with people that realize it cannot go on like this. I'm very impressed how hard all of our nominees put innovation at the core of their business models. So please welcome our 6 fantastic finalists. Carbonart from Germany are on a mission to achieve zero carbon with a carbon negative biomaterial. Tempora from Switzerland protects the beauty of our environment with an ecological membrane for outdoor wear. Collaborators from Germany tackles waste in the fast fashion industry with a sustainable plastic made from old clothes. Resync from Germany helps companies with a digital B2B platform for recycling contracts. Traceless Materials from Germany. They want to eradicate single-use plastic with a bio-based home-compostable alternatives. And Trace from Sweden. They make fashion more sustainable with a digital platform to trace every supplier in the textile sector. I look forward to all their pitches. They all make us aware that a lot of the environmental topics, or most of them, are still unsolved. Again, we had close to 200 applications this year from all over the world. But this year, the hot topic seems to be fashion. 3 out of 6 finalists have come up with ideas how to make the fashion or the textile industry a bit more sustainable or a lot more sustainable. We all at Green Alley share a common goal. Leave no stone unturned when it comes to preserving this planet. A special thanks to our partner SeedMatch and Positive News for supporting us tonight with their know-how, but also with their dedication to our common vision. And a big thanks to everyone out there connecting and watching on the screen now the pitches from our 6 finalists. I wish all the startups, all the finalists, good luck with their pitches and their presentations now. Let us invest in our future now. And with this, I hand over back to Oliver.
Thank you so much, Jean-Patrick. Inspiring stuff. Synergies between regulation and economic development, environment and ethics, people and planet. And I love that point about the personal motivations of founders being so key. Such an important message. And the Queen sends her commendations on your beautiful British accent. Now, before we jump into the pitches, the excitement of the evening, let's just a word on format. So we use a jury system here at the Green Alley Awards, a bit like a court case, only more friendly, and losers stand no chance of being sent to jail. No, a mix of angel investor meeting, Dragon's Den, and beauty contest, I like to think. So each, in alphabetical order, each of the finalists will have 5 minutes to pitch and then 5 minutes to face the music with 2 of our jurors. Afterwards, the jurors will go away and we'll have 10 minutes amongst ourselves to fire questions at them. So on the screen, you'll see a Q&A section. Do put your questions there and vote for your favourite ones. The winner, of course, not only takes away the prize and the prestige of the Green Alley Award, but also a clean 25,000 euros for the winner. So it's all up for grabs. Like our finalists and Jan Patrick's books, all our jurors have been carefully selected. We have again scoured the world for the most learned, the most fair-minded, the most incisive, and I should add, the most incorruptible. Collectively, they bring a wealth of experience and expertise to these awards about business, about the environment, and of course about the circular economy. So our 6 illustrious jury members, let's meet them now. So there they are, our 6 jurors, the people that our finalists will have to impress today to walk away with the award and that 25,000 euros. So first up, who is it? Carbonart, the company that doesn't like to see trees rot, that combines biocarbons with binders, that boast the very latest in negative emissions technology materials. Torsten, over to you, your 5-minute pitch.
Hi everyone, I'm Torsten Becker, founder, dreamer and innovator of Carbonart, the minus CO2 factory. CO2 is a valuable material with enormous potential. It can be turned into economically attractive products very easily and efficiently. A simple example, imagine packaging becoming a permanent and cheap CO2 store. Carbonart has developed a unique system for industry that is immediately effective in reducing their CO2 emissions and costs. It is based on the physical fact that 1 ton of biocarbon can permanently store up to 3.3 tons of CO2. How does the system work? Plants are perfect CO2 storage machines. Before they rot as biomass residues and becoming climate gases such as CO2 again, we interrupt this natural cycle. To do this, we carbonize the residues into stable and specified biocarbons. As the process runs 24/7, attractive byproducts are baseload, renewable energy, high-quality pyrolysis oils, and via an extended process, high-purity chalk from the CO2-neutral waste gas of the pyrolysis. We combine the biocarbons with various binders, such as plastics, minerals, and silicates to form so-called net materials. That means negative emission technology materials. These replace and supplement petroleum-based plastics and building materials. We use a wide variety of biomass residues, which are available worldwide in unlimited quantities. And we also can convert problematic materials into carbons. This includes, for example, screen overflows from composting, which cause high disposal costs. The same applies to waste materials from the paper industry, thus solving additional disposal problems. The Carbonart system triggers massive disruption, because the more of net materials that is used in products, the better is it for the environment. Net materials are suitable for replacing and supplementing plastic and building materials. Greta Thunberg thus becomes a high-frequency shopper. Industry is happy about this because it solves the dilemma of consumption-based growth and ecology. Industry is happy about this because it solves the dilemma of consumption-based growth and ecology. We have already provided some evidence and successfully used net materials in various industry-related prototypes in plastic and building materials. The carbonization technology is important here. To this end, we exclusively using the further development of a proven process that will produce biocarbons on an industrial scale at our pilot site near Berlin from the end of the year. We do not sell this technology. For the first time, it enables a decentralized production and cheap biocarbons in large quantities and high qualities. This enables the widespread acceptance of net materials because we do not sell this technology. For the first time, it enables the decentralized production of cheap biocarbons in large quantities and high qualities. This enables the widespread acceptance of net materials because the industry wants to save the planet, but it must not cost more than previous materials. The technology is very reliable and robust as it has no rotating parts. The technology is very reliable and robust as it has no rotating parts. It runs 24/7, which generates a high amounts of biocarbons and therefore a lot of excess base load renewable energy. The modular design allows it to be adapted to individual sites. The system can also be used to build large industrial plants, such as this one for a paper mill that uses it to produce CO2 sinks. The byproduct-based loadable renewable energy is very attractive as it continuously accrues the free of charge and can be used. The byproduct-based load renewable energy is very attractive as it continuously accrues free of charge and can be used as heat or electricity by third parties. Carbonart USP is a unique triad, net materials, biocarbons database, and carbonization technology with low-cost energy production. Carbonart earns money in different ways. Biocarbons, Carbonart net materials, bioenergy, pyrolysis oil, and last but not least, CO2 certificates. On the way to becoming the world market leader, the most important step was the participation of the strategic partner Forest Finance Capital with 9.5%. This secured the financing of the pilot site near Berlin, and further sites in South America and Asia are being developed. As the sites are technologically almost identical, global scaling is guaranteed. Carbonart plans to operate 200 sites worldwide in 2030 and have a turnover of at least €2 billion. The most important thing for a startup is having the right idea at the right time. Since the end of last year, we have been developing projects with various industries because the pressure from CO2 and the markets has become enormous for companies, and Carbonart have a sustainable and economically attractive solution for this. The most important thing for a startup is having the right idea at the right time. Since the end of last year, we have been developing projects with various industries because the pressure from CO2 and the markets has become enormous for companies, and Carbonart has a sustainable and economically attractive solution for this. Passion, curiosity, endurance, and experience, and the simplest possible action characterize every Carbonart. Minus CO2, if not now, when? Passion, curiosity, endurance, and experience, and the simplest possible action characterize every Carbonart. Minus CO2, if not now, when?
Terrific. So much there in that 5 minutes. A great material, clearly lots of renewable energy going on, and big ambitions. 200 sites by 2030, a turnover of €2 billion. Can it happen? Are there chinks in that business case? So our two jurors, Jean-Patrick and Martin. Torsten, are you ready? You have 5 minutes. Let's go.
Hi, Torsten.
I want
Martin
to say
here.
I'm not very satisfied with the cutter. Sorry.
Good stuff. I'll kick off, Torsten, with a question, if I may. Okay. So you've got quite ambitious financial goals. How robust is the research that you've done to actually establish a market for your products?
It's very robust because if you think that plastics, for example, is a market with 25 billion euros, for example, or the construction industry around about 20 billion euros, and we are experiencing enormous demands of big companies in the last month because they have so much pressure. And now we're building up different consortia to create a new companies and new materials together with big industrial partners.
Brilliant.
Thank
On
you.
the nose.
Thank you very much for
Patrick?
your presentation. I really believe if we can really suck the CO2 out of the atmosphere, that will be fantastic. How do you said with you can 1 ton of your material could store up to 3.3 tons of CO2. Do you have any scientific proof for that? Is it assumptions, or how do you come to that number? And is there any proof?
Yes, it's very simple. 1 ton physically can store with 100% of carbon inside 3.67 tons of CO2. That's a physical fact.
Oh,
and
okay.
our carbon has a content around about 85% of carbon. So you have the result between 3 and 3.3 tons of CO2 equivalent.
Okay, so that's the pure physics, like you say. But have you achieved that in your trials?
Yes.
And in your tests?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
We did it.
And, yeah.
And these are we make different analyses, so we have yes, we are sure.
All right, thanks. And another question: do you have you used any certification? I know that there is this European Biochair certificate that is based in Switzerland. Do you think it's a good idea? Are you using that? Is that something that is good, or how do you see that?
Yes, this is very good because we need such certificates, especially for forestry and agriculture. In the other markets like plastic or construction, we don't need that special certification. We need other certifications. But our biochar or biocarbons are so far, as we know, in this range of the ECB.
Okay, so but you don't have the certificate. It's just that are you going to do it, or is that?
Yes, we have a pilot plant, and the results from the pilot plant we are inside the certification.
Okay.
And we're producing
awesome.
some 100 kilos of these biocarbons, so we don't need any other proof of that.
Torsten, yeah, Torsten, a quick one from me while we still have a little time. I noticed you said that your innovation solves the dilemma of consumption-based growth and ecology.
Yeah.
Just with that in mind, what is the energy source for the industrial process you're using?
It's inside the biomass. We use the biomass itself. We need just 5% of the energy which is inside the biomass for the process, and the other 90% we can use it for heating processes of third parties. It's a self-running system. We
Lovely. A quick final.
Yeah,
a quick final one from me.
Yeah.
A quick final one from me, if I may. Sorry. You do mention the prospect of carbon offset funding. Is your business model dependent on carbon offset funding? And if so, at what carbon price?
No. This is a byproduct. We produce on a base production site around about 15,000 tons of certificates, but this is just a side product. But if you imagine 10 years producing 150,000 tons of certificates, this is the financing of one production site. It's a byproduct.
Okay, thank you.
Great stuff. Questions, jurors? Thank you very much. Great stuff, Torsten. You're on your numbers. I can tell you're all over this. Well done. So that's one down. We have 5 to go. Next, Dimpora. Could this outdoor clothing brand be the one to take the top spot tonight? No more toxic chemicals running off as we in the beautiful hills in the rain. No more hiking equipment in landfill. They're attractive promises. So let's hear a little bit more about this fluorine-free phenomenon from Switzerland. Anna from Dimpora, your 5 minutes. Pitch away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Belzung. I'm CTO and co-founder of Dimpora, and I will be the one presenting for the Green Alley Award today. We usually start with this picture of this person staying outside in nature wearing a jacket. And this person needs to be protected from nature, but also needs to be protected from the inside of the jacket where sweat can agglomerate. For this, in the outdoor textile industry, you will need a so-called membrane. The membrane is responsible for the breathability and the waterproofness of your garments. Unfortunately, membranes on the market right now contains toxic fluorine chemicals, and the fluorine-free alternatives do not show the required performance for brands to really be willing to change. And a bit more fitting on the topic of this Green Alley Award here, laminates, which we call laminate is the membrane glued to the fabric, are very difficult to recycle and also to separate from each other, and are usually full of different types of materials together. And finally, brands are looking for alternative, as I mentioned before. For example, Patagonia moved out of fluorinated solution at some point, but went back because they weren't satisfied with the performance that they were reaching. We at Impora, we developed a new type of membrane. This membrane is fluorine-free, and there is a new technology to create the porosity inside. So the first idea was really to go into the fluor-free space, but then we quickly decided to actually go further down the road of sustainability and use the platform technology that the patent allows to test other types of polymer for this membrane. And this is how we ended up with the idea to reduce the different types of materials that we will find in a jacket by choosing to work with the polymer that is already present in the fabric to make a membrane out of it, and then the laminate will be so-called monomaterial. Another type of innovation here would be to start using very new and innovative bio-based materials or biodegradable polymers to control a bit better the end of life of the laminates. And finally, the 3D design. This is something that we can do with our technology. We can spray the membrane onto an already made garment to avoid the seam taping, which is usually very difficult in the supply chain of outdoor garments. How do we do that? Our technology basically is based on the mineral templates that we coat with a special, very hydrophobic molecules. Hydrophobic molecules means that it really doesn't like water. And this is then mixed together with this polymer and coated onto a 2D plate. The template is then removed out of the structure, and we end up with a very porous membrane. The hydrophobic molecule I mentioned before stays inside the pores, and this is why we really get something that is very highly waterproof. Porosity control allows us to tweak a little bit the performance, and I mentioned before this mineral powder that we are using, and the powder has different sizes. And you see, for example, on the right side, if we use bigger particles, we will get higher breathabilities, and if we get smaller one, we will get better waterproofness. We have 3 products so far on the market, actually not on the market, but on our portfolio. EcoPure is the most advanced one. It's our first fluorine-free alternative that we brought, and this is really our go-to-market strategy to first start with this one. And there we have already produced 5,000 meters and garments were made. Our second product is our most circular product, Sane Membrane. There we actually have a patent pending on this solvent-free technology of making membranes. And this is also where we want to push the biodegradable, bio-based polymers and also the monomaterials that I mentioned before. The idea here is to work first on paid projects and go for direct sales at some point. And finally, our 3D product, you see a sock on like a 3D membrane sock. And this is kind of disruptive because everything normally is made in 2D, so 3D is kind of new in the industry, and this is why we'd rather go on paid project and licensing in the future. Progress and traction, we have won some prizes so far. We have been getting 800K in non-dilutive funding. We have sold a lot of samples already and have a first collection to be out soon. On the market size, there is approximately 2 billion markets on waterproof breathable textile with possible disruption of legal changes, for example. And finally, our team, this is Mario and me, the co-founder of Impora. We met during our studies. And then the rest is very much R&D focused, and we hope to be able to hire some new people soon after our investment round. And with this, I would like to thank you very much.
Well, lots of positives there. Growing market, trend-setting area. Obviously, sounded very impressive. First collection coming out soon. But did Anna do enough to convince our jurors? Marianne and Heike, who wants to go first?
Will you go first, Heike?
I could do so. Anna, thank you so much for this great presentation. How could I really know that Tempora products are free of these toxic fluorine chemical substances?
Oh,
we cannot hear you.
Hear you.
Typical mistake. So there are some chemical tests that you can do if you don't trust us. But on the other hand, is really simply we do not start with any types of product that contains fluorine inside. For example, the polymer that you are using right now are really strictly chosen without any presence of fluorine inside.
Okay, thank you.
I will go now then. So you said that one of the challenges with current materials on the market is the recyclability, so that it's not possible to recycle them. What about your material? What happens after the person doesn't use it anymore?
Yes, so the first product, EcoPure, is indeed not made right now for recyclability. And this is why we actually moved or continued rather the development of other types of membrane with other types of raw materials, for example, with polymers that are present right now in the fabric, so that at the end we would have the fabric plus the membrane out of the same materials. And this is rather famous to simplify the recyclability of a product. And right now, unfortunately, the first product is not really recyclable, but our second will be.
All right. So how do you see fitting in this circular economy model yourself? Is it going to be that the raw materials are recycled, or is the goal that the end product is going to be recycled?
So we cannot really, it has to be the end product that needs to be recycled. So if you look at a jacket, and a jacket is composed of very different types of things. So you have the zipper, you have the pockets, you have the fabric that is used. So that's kind of the challenge, and it's a big challenge. But we are confident that if we continue on working with brands, on choosing the right materials and on reducing the different amounts of materials within a jacket, then we will be able to start really recycling of those jackets and making some either new types of textile afterwards or other types of object completely. But then this is how we would want our product to be circular.
So I take the next question. Mm-hmm. It's a big mistake not to listen to the customers, but it's an even bigger mistake to listen to all and every customer. What is your R&D on that?
So actually, we identified that there are two types of, our customers are the brands. So we are really clearly a B2B business. And on the brand field, there are two types of customers. The one that really wants to not leave any trace in the nature. So those ones are very interested in biodegradability, for example. And there are the other ones that are all about the durability of the product. So for them, it's all about something that is very stable and durable and needs to be, for example, you will have your jacket for maybe 20 years. And depending, we find out in conversation with them very early on in what type of alternative they are most focused on, and then we kind of adapt our pitch, like our sales pitch, to that.
Thank you. And what kind of values Tempora live, and how you define them?
We live on the value that nature is super important for us. And Mario and me, my co-founder, we are very, for example, avid skier. And we really want to bring something on the slope in Switzerland that will respect the snow, respect the grass underwards, and respect the nature in general. So this is how we really started to wanted to make a difference in the outdoor field, and we are using our chemical engineering degree to make some changes about that.
Thanks.
Do we have time for one more question?
We've got 3 seconds for a question, 10 seconds for an answer.
So do you have, can you share more about your pricing and how does it compare to competitors?
So we are really trying to stay price competitive, but we are also in a higher value market. So it's still kind of, it will be an expensive product at the end, but we are price competitive with our biggest competitors.
So what's the
Great
price?
stuff.
Of the membrane or of the laminate?
All right.
We'll have to look on your website. Okay, thank you. Thank you, jurors. Thank you, Anna. That was great. Even better with your microphone on. Do put up questions. If you're a social entrepreneur, a circular economy whiz kid, that advice from some of these startups might be that you're an investor looking to put your money somewhere useful. Do use that Q&A chat. We'll have the chance after the pitches to put those. And it could be general. It could be what motivates them. It could be the lessons they've learned. It doesn't have to be specific about the kind of questions the jurors have been asking. So 2 down, 4 to go. Next we have Clyderly, the antidote to fast fashion, taking old clothes, turning them into something useful, from sustainable clothes hangers to funky sunglasses. Alina from Clyderly, you have your 5 minutes. Up we come.
Hi everyone, my name is Alina and I am the CEO of Clyderly, and we're so grateful to be one of the finalists for the Green Alley Circular Economy Award. I am a chemical engineer and I became that to make the world a better place. I've worked in recycling household waste and textile waste and even in the oil and gas industry for over 7 years before starting my own company. And this is my proudest day as an engineer installing that huge machine behind my head. But my journey of Clyderly actually began with a trip to Tanzania visiting my family. So I'd worked in the waste sector for a long time and I'd seen waste from our homes, from coffee, but I hadn't seen textile waste. So I saw these markets firsthand and where our clothing was being sold. And it got me thinking, what happens to all the clothing that they cannot sell? What happens to the clothing in other countries, such as in Germany? And the sad truth is that 87% of all the clothing we will ever wear will go to a landfill or an incinerator. In an incinerator, it will be burned, and in a landfill, it will sit for over 200 years because we are wearing synthetic fabrics derived from crude oil, such as polyester. So, of course, it sits around just like plastic does. This is a picture of a landfill site in Ghana, and it's really grim to see how clothing is rotting. It's leaching into the local soil and then contaminating the water supplies. We are now producing 100 billion garments of clothing a year, but we're not wearing those clothes for very long. And this is largely due to that phenomena that most of us know about called fast fashion. It is our mission to solve this problem in particular by recycling textile waste and unwanted clothes into a plastic alternative. This solves 2 problems at once: the textile waste problem, but also the need of plastics derived from crude oil, which is a non-renewable fossil fuel. We do this by collecting clothing from local charities and local retailers, and then using our patent-pending process to recycle these clothes into a new granulate form. This granulate and this material can be used seamlessly in existing plastics machinery, such as injection molding machinery or extrusion molding, to produce a variety of new products. Our biggest USP is that we can recycle blends of fabrics containing polyester, cotton, viscose, and elastane, and any blends or ratio of the above, meaning that we can actually recycle about 85% of all the clothing that's used at this point in time. Our material has a low melting temperature than traditional plastics, therefore you have energy savings. It's strong and durable, so it can be used in hard applications. It has a much lower CO2 footprint than traditional oil-based plastics, such as polystyrene. And at the end of its life, it's recyclable, meaning that you can use it over and over again to create a circular economy. There are endless possibilities of different products that we can produce, and I'll give you a few examples now, but this really is just the beginning. One of the first things that we had produced is really circular products to take back into the fashion industry, replacing polystyrene in clothing hangers and replacing ABS plastic in anti-theft security tags. Because again, you don't think about it, but 8 billion clothing hangers go to a landfill every year. So we're trying to replace plastics within these different ways. But we've also now started our own ecosystem of Clydelly products to give customers a tangible way to see that their old textiles, their unwanted t-shirts, can now be the new frame of glasses that they wear. By doing this, we are giving textiles a new life and creating a circular economy within the fashion sector. But of course, we can also go into other sectors such as furniture. Our goal and my whole philosophy is we have to create a saving of CO2 emissions, and we are doing so. We save 85% of CO2 emissions by diverting textiles away from landfill and to our process. We've been featured in Forbes, in Deutsche Welle, and even in a few different fashion weeks. So we're really grateful for this. And we're a Berlin-based startup. We are entirely bootstrapped. So all of the money for this startup has come from our personal savings and money from our friends and family. But we now need your help through the Green Alley Circular Economy Award to take us to the next level. I've mentioned my background. I won't go into more detail. I was an engineer at ThyssenKrupp and at other startups, and I was also recently on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list in the manufacturing and industry category. My co-founder has a master's in international business and has over 9 years experience in digital marketing and e-commerce, working for large organizations such as Sky and Intersport and HRS. So we would like your help to help us reduce the world's fashion footprint. So thank you so much for your time, and I really look forward to any of the questions you have now in our Q&A. Thank you.
Great stuff. Those pictures actually were hugely inspiring. It's amazing to see how personal experiences and engagement with these issues that we're talking about this evening can have such an impact on entrepreneurs, that you can take those experiences and create something wonderful. So Martin and Marianne, I should say, Marianne, you're at liberty to ask the hardest questions you like, because you had to go through them as our last winner in the past. So far away, Martin or Marianne, your time starts.
Marianne, you go first.
Now.
All right. So can you share a little bit more about your go-to-market strategy and your current traction?
Mm-hmm. So we've actually been working with 30 large fashion brands on helping them reduce their textile waste and replace their plastics. And actually, we're at this point in time where we're receiving so many requests for taking textiles that we have to say, sorry, but we cannot take any more. So there's lots of exciting projects lined up. Some I cannot mention, but one I can mention is a very large company in Germany called Otto, which I'm sure all of you know. We're working with them to produce a range of products made out of their textile waste for them to retail. Besides this, as I mentioned, we're also working on our own ecosystem of products, because we've had customers requesting us to see things that they can touch and feel and wear.
All right. And what is your business model going to be?
To be honest, my dream would have been to do B2B solely, but COVID has been a very tough time for having a B2B offer within the fashion industry. They've been the hardest hit in, not the hardest, but one of the hardest hit in this sector. So that's the reason why we've decided to spend most of our focus now solely on our direct-to-consumer brand, because really our goal is to raise awareness. It's so important that we raise awareness that people are consuming clothing at such ridiculous rates, and they're buying thousands of items of clothing a year. And we think that if they're able to buy things made out of their waste, they can see that that t-shirt that they thought they could just get rid of actually can have a new life.
Thanks. Martin, do you want to go?
Yeah, okay. A nice easy one, really, just following up on that. Is there any danger that you are, in a way, legitimizing fast fashion by providing a guilt-free solution that doesn't actually address the roots of the problem?
Absolutely not. I would never want to allow this to be a way that they can go away guilt-free. So one of the things we actually do quite heavily is we have an online magazine, and we share articles twice a week to really raise awareness about the whole problem of fast fashion, consumption, and try to educate people on what they're wearing, because people don't know that they're wearing polyester that lasts in a landfill for over 200 years, or people don't realize that textile waste is such a big problem. And the way the plastic straw became such a big issue and everyone knew about it, we want to raise awareness of textile waste in the same way. So we're giving a solution, but at the same time raising awareness of the problem. So
if you're successful, you'll reduce your supply chain, but I guess that's not a problem if there's a lot in the supply chain. We produce 100 billion garments a year, 90% goes to landfill or incineration, and we're supposedly going to produce 150 billion by 2050. So as much as we try to reduce the problem, I don't think that will have as big a dent that will impact our supply chain, which is a problem. I would like that to be an issue. Sure. A more down-to-earth question. You talked about clothes hangers as a potential product. That's a pretty price-sensitive sector. You don't see people paying premium prices for green coat hangers. How are your prices comparing to conventional alternatives? In terms of in-store clothing hangers, I've got one here so you can see. I don't know if you can see that very well. So an in-store hanger, which is something that's a bit more fancy for fashion brands, they're willing to pay slightly more, especially if it's a luxury brand. We still come up more expensive. We're 30% more expensive than traditional in-store clothing hangers. But a lot of these brands are now facing issues with reducing their plastic. So they are looking for things that are a bit more expensive. Okay. I've got one more. Marianne, have you got one?
Well, one of the things I wanted to actually, I was wondering about is because you said also that your product is recyclable. But with plastics, very often you can recycle it like once or twice, but then it starts to lose value. So what about yours?
That's my question too. Brilliant.
Oh, good. So you can recycle our material definitely without adding any new material up to 5 times. And our goal is to actually have a take-back system. So we're already saying to customers who buy our products, send it back to us at the end. Do not get rid of it, because we could turn it into a clothing hanger or an anti-theft security tag where the plastic look is not that important.
Brilliant stuff.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you, Jira. Thank you, Lena. They're good, aren't they, man? I mean, they know their stuff, these guys. We've chosen well. Well done, jurors, and well done, applicants. We're halfway through. Gosh, it's flying by. 3 down, 3 to go. Pitch number 4. We have Resync. So this problem where you've got stuff, you're a big business, you need to recycle it. You don't know where to recycle it. You don't know who might recycle it, how much it's going to cost you. What you is a business-to-business recycling platform, and that's what Resync does. So, Eduardo, you tell us a bit more about it, please. You've got 5 minutes to sell Resync.
Plastic, paper, glass, cardboard, steel. The list of recyclable materials goes on and on. In an age where companies have a greater desire than ever to recycle, to minimize costs, and to use digital technology in their business practices, we, Resync, seek to fill an important market gap. The current process of recycling is costly, time-consuming, and inconvenient. Our mission is to help make the recycling process more affordable, faster, and more convenient than ever before. We believe in a world whereby smart technology can help companies with their environmental challenges in order to create a more sustainable tomorrow. Our core values are based on simplicity, commitment, and creativity, and we seek to implement these in our daily operations. We see that each year, millions of tons of commercial waste are generated in Germany, which, if not properly processed, can lead to climate change and pollution in our cities. We see that companies struggle with the unnecessary complexity of outdated bureaucratic processes with their recycling partners. Our market validation through 20+ interviews, several letters of intent and recommendation, as well as uncounted conversations with members of the industry show that the solution Resync brings is one of promise. Our primary market is Germany, which in 2020 had an overall size of 42.4 billion euros with a worldwide size of 286 billion, growing over 5% per year. Our desire is to eventually expand our sustainable offering across Europe and eventually beyond. Our competitive environment contains various recycling platforms, among which Resync is considered unique. This is because of our USP. which is the instantaneous pairing through our smart matching algorithm and the fact that deals can be signed on our platform through pre-negotiated prices with recycling partners and smart contracts through blockchain technology. And you might be wondering, how does it all function? Well, this is how it works. Recycling contractors specify their recycling offers, and companies looking to recycle specify their preferences. Our smart matching algorithm considers multiple variables such as price, location, and sustainability certifications, which are also individually calculated within the system, assigning the right pre-negotiated contract based on these dynamic factors allows for smart matching, which is all based on actual market data. After a contract has been selected, its clauses are translated into a computer language and compiled onto a single piece of software, which is permanently and irreversibly registered on a blockchain-based ledger. Once the identical hash ID has been approved by both parties, the software automatically executes its final commands, ensuring safe and efficient contract processing. Well, that's the technical side explained. Let's get down to business. We have a commission-based revenue model, which means companies sign up for free and Resync receives a small percentage of every contract signed. We enjoy low fixed with very low variable costs, enjoy high profit margin as well as high growth potential. Our in-depth financial planning and sales forecasts include market share estimations and market sizing projections, which assess the expected profitability of Resync in the first year. Our cost structure is a key factor contributing to self-sustainability and eventual high profitability that is likely to be reached within the first year. In the coming months, we seek to quarter database, introduce our algorithm, combine the two, and start with actual operations. Our team is truly international, with 5 members from 5 different countries, fluent in 6 different languages. We are committed to our mission of connecting recycling and ensuring a greener tomorrow. Our sustainable solution comes at the time when our cities and the companies within them are no longer encouraged, but rather expected to be eco-friendly. The idea of a circular economy is increasingly becoming a reality. And we are convinced that we are the right team working on the right solution at the right time. And we sincerely believe that this funding opportunity allows us to make our own idea into a reality as well. To continue the plan that we have set out, to develop the technology that is required, to start connecting recycling today, the price of this competition is critical. We would like to venture forward through the future, through a green alley, not one filled with waste. And for this reason, we believe our organization and yours are a smart match.
Good stuff. I love that line, let's get down to business. Our jurors are going to do that now for us. Tim and Heik, can you cut? Yeah, there you are. Good to see you. Eduardo, well done. Are you ready? They've
ready.
Got their questions up their sleeves. They're going to kick in. Who's going to go first? Tim? Heik?
I think, Heike, you wanted to start correctly?
Yes, I can start. Thank you. So how are you funding your startup?
Yeah, well, at the moment, we are utilizing only the means that we have had on our disposal. So we are working with a really low-cost margin, which has allowed us to advance up to a certain point. We have started, for example, coding our database and our algorithm, started with our business plan. And this has allowed us to move forward up to some point. Now we've put a bit of money ourselves, but we're in a quite a slow margin. So we're looking forward to taking that step forward, which includes most of our costs, which is basically like hosting costs, security costs, et cetera, et cetera.
Thanks.
Yeah, very interesting business model, actually. And as you say at the end of your presentation, that Landbell and your organization might be a smart match. So you mentioned that you had a lot of interviews and you checked the market and the market demand, supply situation, everything in advance. So what's your gut feeling? Where is the higher, let's say, demand? Is it more on the supplier side, whether they say, oh, we don't know, we have these materials, we don't know where to go with it, or is it more on the on the demand side that other industries are asking for, well, we would like to use certain materials, but we don't know where to get it from, especially not in a fast and efficient manner. So who's the driver of this business model?
Yeah, well, we believe, quite frankly, that it's on both sides. No, so we've talked to the suppliers or the people that want to do that supply the recycling or the recycling companies per se, and these people they tell us that they have still a lot of capacity to recycle, but they need to put a lot of effort into attracting clients. And on the other side, we also talk to all of these companies that are trying to find ways to recycle their materials. And they're telling us that it's really complicated to really find these companies, and they have to invest a lot of resources. So it's both the supply and the demand which are high and that would benefit from a platform like this. And for this reason that we've talked to them both, we see that there is a need on both sides in a more or less equal way. So we're hoping that in this reason we can increase both sides.
Maybe just to follow this one up, because you also mentioned that you have this market data, and that's why you can do competitive pricing. So I mean, usually algorithms are a great thing if you have the right data, of course. So where would you get those data, and probably what role could Landbell play here to supply you with this data to make this really successful?
Yeah, well, up to this point, our data has been gathered by us ourselves, talking to companies, getting the actual point of view from them, seeing where they are located, what are they recycling, and in order to get them on board. And afterwards, we can get the companies that want to recycle on board, no? Because if we have the supply, then the demand will follow in an easier way. So the way that Landbell can help us, for example, is by networking, no? Because in order to build this platform, we need to have more and more information. And the more information that we have, the better the algorithm will work. Exactly. So this would be a great way.
Okay.
And who are your biggest competitors and how you compete with them?
Yeah, well, our biggest competitor is actually Resourcify, which is a recycling platform based in Hamburg. And there's other recycling platforms existing as well. But the way that our main focus is that we are instantaneous smart matching based on contract-oriented perspective. So this is our USP. This is actually the way that we compete with them. They do not offer instantaneous pairing, as well as they are doing waste management. And we want to do actual recycling of the products. So we maintain our competitiveness because waste management is still quite expensive and it takes a bit of time. And with us, you do not have to spend any money until you actually use our product, which is commission-based. So it's really, really small takeaway from that contract. We are a social company after all. So we do not expect to take a whole lot of money. No, we want to maintain our profit margin enough, but we are also based on a really small fixed costs and variable costs. So for this reason, we maintain very low prices.
Quick yes/no question, jurors.
Just the last quick one. You mentioned that you were the only one so far who had a schedule at the end where you are. So are you on track with your growth plan, with your development plan, or are you behind? And so to understand where you are, because you are pretty in the early stage still.
Even with COVID, we are on track. We're heading in the right direction.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, Eduardo. That's a great question to have 3 seconds to answer. Yes, we're doing really well. Great, well done. Good to see smart tech being used for an environmental goal like that. That's great. So keep the questions coming in, please. We're on to our last 2 pitches. Can you believe it? 4 down, 2 to go. Now we're going to hear from Traceless Materials, a world with no plastic, a world in which everything from your shopping bag to your food packaging, you can just lob in the compost heap and not have to think about it. That's the promise of Traceless Materials. Let's hear a little more about it from Anne. Your 5 minutes is here. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Anne and we are Traceless, a young startup from Hamburg. Our mission is to stop the plastic pollution by producing a novel, fully biocircular materials designed for nature. We have a plastic waste problem, and the numbers are alarming. 40% of today's global plastic production ends up in the environment. and 11 million tons of plastic leak into the ocean every year, with 11% of that is microplastic. So plastic in nature is a problem because it doesn't degrade and it causes serious harm to ecosystems, animals, and humans. So that's why consumers, industry, and politics are demanding for solutions. The demand for alternative materials to plastics is huge, especially in the consumer-facing goods industry. But the materials available on the market, they do not fulfill all impact indicators. They are either based on fossil resources, or when they're bio-based, they compete with food production and cause land use change. Or they do not degrade in the environment if they end up there. Some of them cause high greenhouse gas emissions during production, and most of them are simply not cheap enough to compete with virgin plastics. So that is what Traceless materials will fulfill: a holistically sustainable and affordable material solution for products that can easily end up in the environment. Our solution also goes beyond bioplastics. In the grey cycles, you see the current plastic and bioplastic market. The best you can get on the market is based on food and does not degrade in the environment, only in industrial composting plants. So that's where we come in. Traceless materials are made from leftovers of the food production and are fully degradable in the environment. Traceless is designed for the biological cycle, and that means that, like any other natural material, like leaves or nutshells, they completely decompose in the compost into CO2 and water without leaving a trace. And here is how it works. We take byproducts from the agricultural industry that are currently being used as low-quality cattle feed or energy source, and then we apply our patented technology, resulting in our three base materials: the film, the granulate, and the coating. These materials are then used as a drop-in solution for the plastic converting industry to produce end products for consumers. And after the use, these materials can be disposed in any waste disposal, preferably, of course, in the organic waste to become nutrient for new plants. And even if the products end up in the environment, they will be traceless after a while. Traceless is therefore 100% environmentally degradable, easy to dispose, and this way we achieve a 100% plastic-free environment for all traceless products. We avoid the food conflict, and because we don't use any harmful solvents or additives, our materials are not only safe for the environment, but also for humans. You could actually even eat it. And the best of all, they are competitive with conventional plastics in quality and also in price on industrial production level. And here is what our materials look like: the flexible film, the Traceless plast, which is a granulate that can be extruded or injection molded to form rigid molds, and a coating solution for paper and cardboard. These materials have good mechanical stability and flexibility. They have relatively good water and oxygen barriers and an excellent fat barrier. They're hot sealable, dye and printable, and they are also processable on conventional plastic converting machines like extrusion or injection molding. And these materials can be used for a wide range of applications, but of course, especially for those that often end up in the environment, which is mainly food packaging, but also non-food packaging, single-use items, or products with high abrasion to prevent production of microplastics. In our current stage, we develop prototypes with first customers while scaling up the production. With our first pilot plant, we will then do first market pilots with the customers next year, and after scaling the technology to an industrial level, we will be able to produce at a competitive price level. So what really drives us on this ambitious scale-up plan is to achieve the highest possible environmental impact on the global plastic pollution, on fossil fuel consumption, and on reduction on CO2 emissions. And this is us. We are a female-founded company with a multidisciplinary team with a strong focus on technology scale-up and product development. And we invite everyone to be part of the solution, not pollution. With Traceless, we offer a truly sustainable product choice. We avoid bans and additional taxes on plastic because we don't fall under the EU Single Plastic Directive. And Traceless is an economical, feasible solution with huge scale-up potential. Thank you very much for listening.
Great stuff. Well done. I love the name. I think Traceless is such a clever name. But my question that I want to ask, I'm not allowed to ask it, is if you have tried to eat it, and if you have, what's it taste like? But our jurors will have much more intelligent questions than that. So your 5 minutes, are you ready? Jurors, jump in. Whoever wants to go first, go for it.
Great presentation, thanks, Anne. And I really like the idea of turning waste into something new. But, you know, bio-based materials, there's a lot of competition out there. I love the more bets on the table, the better, but what's your USP and how will you carve out a niche, or what's special? Where do you distinguish exactly?
So first of all, on the material base, we are using byproducts of the grain processing industry, and grain, we produce like 2 billion tons of grain every year on our field. So there are a lot of byproducts on that production. And on the other hand side, we are producing a material, as you saw on the pitch, that is really compostable in the environment. And maybe you also saw that there are not many materials out there that do fulfill this criteria, being fully compostable in the environment and made of agricultural residues.
Okay, and the good thing is it decomposes in 9 weeks. You can do it even at home, right? That's what I understood. But yes. How do you make sure that somebody that doesn't have a garden or any puts it in the right box, in the right bin, and then it's not ends up in an industrial composting plant or is sorted out there? How can you make that sure?
So the best thing is that it's very easy to dispose. I mean, ideally, it ends up in the organic waste to become nutrient for new plants. But even if it ends up in the residual waste and it will be burned, the CO2 will go back into nature, which was bound in the plant in the beginning. So this is also not a problem. And even if it ends up in the paper or plastic recycling, it will be sorted out in the residue stream. So it's really, it's a no-brainer for consumers, because they don't have to have a compost, or they don't have to put it into the organic waste. It's just non-harmful in the disposal, but it's truly sustainable on all other impact indicators.
Great, thanks. Johannes, you want to?
Yeah, thanks a lot for the great pitch. I think there are hardly any questions open, but I was wondering, what is the biggest problem you're facing at the moment in the actual state of development, and how do you address it, or how do you want to solve it?
So actually, our biggest challenge is that we need to be fast, because the solutions are needed now and not in 10 years. So that's why we have a plan to scale up very fast, doing prototypes together with our first interested customers, because we get a lot of interest from companies all over the world, because they're all facing the plastic problem while scaling up the technology. And of course, our second challenge is that we need to incorporate a new material in the whole supply chain. So we are working with the plastic converters whom we are selling our products in the future, and also with the brand owners who then use this material in their products. But also we will create our ingredient brand Traceless for the end users to understand the problem and solutions that are available.
This, to me, this sounds that you need a lot of money to develop and to scale past. How do you fund yourself, or where do you get the funds from?
So on the one hand side, we're getting public funding, but on the other hand side, we are about to close our first investment round.
Mm-hmm. Regarding distribution, I was wondering, what is the go-to-market strategy? How do you want to sell your products?
So yeah, as I said, during we scale up the pilot plant, we of course are not able to sell the material to a competitive price, because that's an intermediate technology scale. So during that time, we are doing paid customer projects, so prototype development, market pilots with the brand owners. And once we have developed the demo plan, we are able to produce at a level that is competitive to conventional plastics. And then we will be only the producer of this base material that can be used as a drop-in solution for many, many plastic converting industries. So in the end, we will sell the base material to the plastic converters.
Last one.
Yeah, perfect. Do you have a question? I have some more, but...
Go ahead.
I was wondering. So you are setting up the production by yourself, or do you want to work together with partners?
Both. So in the beginning, we need to just scale in the first pilot's plan to reduce the technical risk. But in the next step, we of course can work together with partners to get what our aim is, to have the most impact on the environment, the highest impact on the environment. And this is only possible if we of course multiply the technology, which we then have scaled up with our partners.
Brilliant, great stuff. Thank you, and well done. Thank you, jurors. That was great, terrific. Well, only one more to go until the jurors will go away for that 10 minutes. So it's your last opportunity, really, to post some questions. And if you want to have a look at the questions and vote them up, then we'll make sure those get asked. But pitch number 6, trust trace. Now, consumers out there are increasingly suspect about where their products come from. They want to make sure that they're not destroying rivers or there are abuses in workers' factories. But how do big brands really find out and provide that information for consumer demand? The topical challenge of traceability. Well, the answer is a state-of-the-art digital platform for product traceability, or it could be. Let's find out more from Rishi at Trust Trace. Your turn, Rishi. Rishi, up you come.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rishi, and I am the co-founder and CSO of Trust Trace. So Trust Trace started as a digital tool to enable brands and suppliers to come together and share transparency and sustainability information. The reason was the brands are under regulatory pressures. They have signed up for multiple pacts, such as the Paris Climate Agreement, or they have transparency and traceability laws in the local geographies, or they've also taken up certain targets in terms of achieving, let's say, 100% organic materials or 100% recycled material by a certain date, right? Then there is consumer demand for more transparency in terms of how a product was produced, where it was produced, etc. And finally, many brands have, or many companies have picked up a lot of debt from the market based on the fact that they would meet certain sustainability goals. If they don't meet those goals, they would have much higher interest rate on the green bonds that they have picked. But the challenge for many brands was that to collect and compute sustainability data, it was a lot of manual effort or through Excel sheets to collect data on certifications and so on. The accuracy of the data also is very low. And the supply chains are so far and wide that it became impossible for them to collect all this data in a single location and compute and automate it. This is where Trust Trace steps in and makes it very simple for them to collaborate with all the lower tier suppliers, collect sustainability data in terms of the various factories, what kind of certificates they have, what kind of processes they have, what kind of social compliance they have, then also map the product through each of the factories that has flown all the way from the raw materials to the final product. And then finally, based on this information, they can go out into the market and make these claims for end consumers or through e-commerce platforms or even to regulators. So what Trust Trace does is brings, like we mentioned, bring everybody onto a single platform, give a view for the brand in terms of who their tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers are, collect the relevant information and certificate, and also rate suppliers and products based on the kind of data that they're collecting. So this is an example of all the brands that most of the brands that we work with marquee names like Adidas, Coop, Decathlon, Fjellraven, and so on. More critically, we have 6,000 suppliers on the platform who sort of also have started collaborating recently in terms of sharing information. So some examples of brands that we work with and how they share transparency information. So in terms of the product footprint, the water consumption, and the factories through which or where the product was produced. So this is another example of a very, very large brand who collects data at the time of production so that they know exactly how much of sustainable material is available for them for production, right? And this is a very large retailer in the Nordics who's collecting data across 10 parameters and computing this for 17,000 products and putting this out to end consumers so that they can decide what is critical for them when they buy a product. So we are a B2B SaaS platform. It's a very simple model. We charge as per the number of products that are traced on the platform, and it varies between 5,000 to 50,000 euros per month, depending on the size and the number of products. So we are a 50-member team spread across Europe and Asia. The Asia team also interacts extensively with the suppliers, so hence it gives us a real advantage in bringing them on board. So the way we differentiate ourselves is we are an enterprise scale platform, and so we have proven capability in terms of how scalable the platform is. Very, very industry specific when we have gone deeper into each industry that we take up, and also we tie up with a lot of other complementary solutions and regulatory bodies to also plug into our platform, so that then the brand gets a unified view of all the data that is available for them on sustainability. So we expect to have a 20x growth from last year in the next 4 years, and we are building the team accordingly. So any brand that sees us as or sees sustainability as a critical factor, then TrustRace is a mission critical platform for them. Thank you.
Great stuff. Well, some big numbers in there. 250,000 products and materials traced, 6,000 plus suppliers on the platform, 10,000 plus platform users, but and some big names, Decathlon, Co-op, Philippe X. But are our jurors convinced? Rishi has swapped, and we've got Shamik to answer the question, CEO of TrustRace. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Are you on your toes? The questions are coming from Tim and Johannes. Who wants to kick off? The clock is ticking.
Yeah. Hello. You just mentioned it before, Oliver, that we talk about big numbers here, and that is something which is I would like to understand a bit better. So what were actually your sales in 2020? Because, I mean, you show that you want to, scale in the future and dramatically, which is great, of course, but to get a flavor for the magnitude. So how many millions or thousands or whatever?
Not millions. In 2020, we did 350,000 euros last year, but it grew from 2019 when we did 90,000 euros. And this year we are expecting around 1.5 million euros, driven by the order closures that we did last year.
Okay, because if you have, let's say, 6,000 customers or 10,000 users, and everybody of them or parts of them are paying 5,000 a month, so whatever. Some math I don't get.
The customers who pay us are the brands and the retailers. The suppliers don't pay to use the platform because they are already putting a lot of effort and data into the platform. So we have subsidized the supplier side of it. So 33 brands pay us. Out of the 33 brands, we have signed contract with 15, right? And we have signed up with the holding company. And then, so suppose we Adidas, and then there are many subsidiaries of Adidas who work with us.
All right, understood. Maybe Martin, you want to
go? Yes, Shabik, it was a great pitch of your colleague, and but I was missing a competitive analysis. Who's your biggest competitor, and what are you better than them?
So this market is a very tremendously big market because it is a green technology market, and there are point solutions and there are enterprise solutions. If you take point solutions, there are many point solutions who do carbon rating, who do maybe biodiversity rating, etc., etc. We typically compete with enterprise class solutions. Most of the time, our competition is with an in-house built platform, like whatever Adidas or a Decathlon will have, number one. Sometimes we also face companies such as IBM Food Trust or sometimes we also face blockchain solution providers such as Provenance, Transparency One, Tilkal there. Where we score significantly from these people is that we are an operational platform which helps these companies to drive risk mitigation on operations, on brand reputation and capital risk. And we have got strong analytics to support that, because one thing is collecting the raw data, which of course I do and many other companies also do, but how do you make intelligent decisions based on that? That is where we differentiate there. So that is why Decathlon, Adidas, or a Cezanne or Faude works with us, because we are able to give them analytics to do continuous improvement on environmental, social, and ethical standards.
We heard earlier in the earlier pitch that COVID has some major impacts on the textile industry at the moment. How do you, what effects do you feel at the moment, or and how do you react?
So actually COVID, we were very, very skeptical in the beginning of last year when COVID hit, because we tried to pull back our business plan and everything, but it had a different effect, absolutely very, very positive effect. First of all, awareness about conscious products has gone off the roof. So consumers typically are going and buying sustainable products. So if you talk to Zalando, they will confirm that a sustainability claim product moves 33% faster than a normal product. So all of these companies are trying to increase the percentage of sustainable products, and we give them an operational platform by which they can shift supply chains and pick a supply chain through which they can get a more sustainable product. Second thing which has happened for most of our market is there are lot of regulatory pressures which has come, which Rishi mentioned, but you also see emergence of modern slavery law in UK after the Boohoo scandal, and then also now Germany is implementing a modern slavery act. This is driving significant amount of compliance. If they don't have a platform like ours, many of the products they cannot claim sustainable. The European Union is becoming very, very strong on that.
Good, great. Well done. Thank you for stepping in. It was great to hear from. Thank you, jurors. Now you have to disappear to your jury pad in the cloud somewhere to discuss together who the winner is of the Green Alley Award 2021. I feel the sort of tension rising, and now I think we can all breathe out and pat each other on the back. Well, finalists, you pat each other on the back. If your supporters back home, you raise a glass for them. They all did amazingly well. 6 fantastic enterprises, all with. It was just a shame we only had 5 minutes to hear from you and 5 minutes questions, because well, one of my failures as a journalist is I always ask too many questions. Keep going, because it just becomes so interesting to meet people that are so passionate about what they do and have ideas that can have an amazing impact on our world. So well done, everyone. But we do have some questions as promised. So I'm gonna I'm looking down here at the list. Thanks for all those that posted them. Thanks for those that upvoted them. I am going to ask 2 questions, I think, at a time. So Dimpora, you're top voted, but I see you've got another question further down. So let me put both of those to you. First question is, what is your advantage? So this is for Dimpora. Anna, hi there. I'm glad we've got you. What is your advantage? What is your advantage to the big players such as Jack Wolfskin? That's the first question. And the second one is, how do you explain that there is a lot of investment in fighting fast fashion, but sporting goods kind of fell under the rug? Nice and quickly, please. We've got lots of questions. Dive in.
So I guess Jack Wolfskin is not directly comparable to us, since it's a brand and they do have a membrane in their collection that they claim it's theirs, but basically they are still sourcing those membranes from suppliers, and they are putting their brands on it. So it's not really their innovation and their product, so to say. So it's difficult to compare directly, but let's say that we are, it's usually the membrane that they are using is not that breathable. So I think in terms of breathability, we will be better. And then the second question is, can you just quickly repeat it?
Sporting goods and fast fashion. Yeah, really quickly. Why aren't we so concerned about sporting goods?
Sporting goods, usually you tend to keep, I think you tend to keep your hiking jacket a little bit longer than fast fashion, like Alina said before. So you pay a bit more, so you tend to keep it a bit longer. So I guess it doesn't really apply into the fast fashion industry at this moment.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well done. Thank you. So there's a question from, I was going to pronounce it. What? No, I'm not going to now. It's for Traceless. This question is for Traceless. It's shot up our Q&A list. Do we have Anna? Anna from Traceless. The question: how about the durability of your products? Any test? Question mark. And whilst you're there, Julia wants to know, how many materials did you try before you came up? It's just flicked. Everything's moving around. How many materials did you try before you came up with the final product?
Okay, so the durability of the product is competitive to conventional plastics or bioplastics, for example, HDPE or PLA. So yeah, quite stable on the material quality, and also storage stable, comparable to a nutshell you have in your room, for example. So it doesn't degrade in the indoor, but it degrades outside. And the question about how many materials did I develop? A lot of samples. I think we are at number 1,560 now. So yeah, it was a long development.
And we've got another question. Whilst I've got you on the line, it's a question about affordability. How have you outpriced your competitors? How did you do that?
So it's quite easy. We take nature's polymers instead of synthetically polymerizing polymers. That's cheap. And our core invention is the technology. So we developed a technology that's very simple with not many unit operations. And then we are able to produce it in an industrial scale to the price of conventional plastics.
Great. Well, good luck with it. We wish you all well. Thanks very much for sharing your answer. Carbonart now. Carbonart, Torsten, we heard from first. Tell us, Torsten, do you see your lack of competitors as a chance or as a threat? Oh, we can't hear you, Torsten.
No, it doesn't matter if you have any competitors. In the climate crisis, there are no competitors at all. We have to work together, and the system we developed, this is really unique. It's very complex, and it's really unique. So we are looking more for the strategy blue ocean and not red ocean for other competitors. We are open for cooperations, and this is one of our biggest chance and benefits that we, for example, the production sites we develop now. Starting this year with a dozen of production sites, we're doing often in cooperations with local investors or local companies. So there's no yes.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in. You shared 4 brilliant adjectives that you felt like help you in what you do: passion, curiosity, experience, endurance. I realise they're nouns, not adjectives. Anyone think I was a writer? Which of those 4 is most important to you, and why?
We are crazy. I think this is the most important benefit we have, because every day we have new ideas what we can do with biocarbons and with the calcium carbonate. These are, yes, we are every day driven with new ideas, and this is our most benefit. And I think we will we will progress it. We don't stop to think about.
Yeah. Well, good on you. Good luck with it. Keep going. One lot before I lose you. Where are you going to be in 10 years' time? 10 seconds.
We are avoiding 1 gigaton of greenhouse gases. The money doesn't matter. I think more than 2 billion euros, but this is not important.
Brilliant. Good. Well, good luck with it. 10 years' time. All the best. Clydely, Alina, if you're out there.
Yeah.
Alina, we have got lots and lots of questions coming through for you. So if you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well done. Hi, great to see you. So sure, I'm going to ask multiple questions. You give us your speedy answers. Your next project after the clothing hangers.
Currently eyewear, could be, but furniture line is also in the making.
Okay. What can I buy my granny? What furniture might be in the line?
Maybe she'll have a little chair to sit on, or perhaps a table.
She'd love that. Okay, next question from Joanna. Your mission and approach is amazing. Who are your collaborators to ensure that the products are recycled? And how do you tackle recyclability if your material is applied in many different products?
So at the moment, we're working with different suppliers, and they will receive the product and then break it down, extrude it back into a granule, and then melt it into different shapes for the next products. And what was the second part of the question, sorry?
Oh, I've been scrolling down to see the next questions. How do you tackle recyclability if your material is applied in many different products?
So at the moment, we're saying to the hanger manufacturers, for example, that when if a store is using it in store, that they don't give it away to the customers, they keep it in their store, and when they don't need it, they send it back to the manufacturers that we work with. Because not everyone needs to take a hanger with them when they buy something. They usually have hangers at home.
Yeah, and you bootstrapped your business, haven't you? Tell us a bit about what it takes to make that leap. I mean, it's a big jump.
Hard work, determination, lots of ups and downs, and to be honest, the thing that keeps me going is the purpose. If I'm making a difference and making people think twice about buying something, then it's all worth it in the end. So yeah, it's a really tough journey though.
Well, good on you. Well done. All the best. Good luck with it. I am scrolling down here for Resync. I was looking for a question for Resync. Eduardo, could your solution also work for new municipalities and local governments? This is for Resync. Have we got Resync? Have we got Eduardo there? We've got Alina. I can ask you another question whilst you're there, Alina. But if we can get Eduardo, we've been doing so well. Our tech people have been great. You've all been juggling this terrifically. Alina, how do you cope, whilst we've got you there, how do you cope with the plastic nanoparticles within the textiles? Techie question, but important one, I suspect.
So we actually don't have any waste from our recycling process. We recycle all of the fabrics that are in there. So we essentially encapsulate the microplastics that are within the textiles. And it's crazy actually how many microplastics our clothes produce, especially when we wash them. So we always try and remind people within our online magazine, if you can, you don't necessarily need to wash it straight after wearing it, as long as it doesn't smell. Try your best to avoid it and wear things as long as possible.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you so much. Our time's up. Our jury have come down from their jury room in the skies with an answer. So we will find out who has won this year's Green Alley Award. But before, drum rolls at home, everyone, please. I can hear the tables clattering, the glasses being raised. Just one quick word on the trophy. So it's not just our ideas that are sustainable at Lambell and Green Alley Award. Our trophy is too. Now, since the beginning, we've made the trophy from garage doors on the assumption that, you know, well, it's slightly sexier than industrial estates. It's where ideas are formed in the garage. Well, this year we've made a new trophy. We've commissioned a new trophy. It's a mix of natural stones, recycled metals and waste materials from quarries. So it's a high value trophy for whoever gets to carry it this evening. One that espouses what the Green Alley Awards is all about: natural materials, upcycling, sustainability, all that stuff. I can see Jean-Patrick waiting there. He's normally got an envelope that he can open up and pass over. But who's it going to be? Let's just run through who are finalists one last time. Carbon Naughton, tomorrow's biocarbon big hitters. Dimpora, the fluorine-free phenomenon. Cladily, the clothing industry's carbon crusher. Resync, the matchmaker of material recycling. Traceless Materials, the canny compost crusader. And Trace, the tech titans of traceability. Now, Patrick, take us out of our agony. We need to know. There were six brilliant finalists. Not everyone can win, obviously, but someone's going to walk away with that trophy and €25,000. Tell us who it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Six great presentations. Not an easy decision. And we didn't have much time, but tonight's winner is on a mission to solve the global plastic pollutions. And that particular startup convinced us with their entire circular approach. So taking waste, leaving no trace, and this is an all-natural alternative, which seems to be a bit ahead of similar materials on the market today. So the Green Alley Award 2021 goes to Traceless Materials. Congratulations.
Well done, congratulations. Brilliant stuff. Let's see the award. Whilst we're waiting for Anna to come up. Hey, well done.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much.
Yeah, how do you feel?
Incredible. I can't believe it still. Thank you so much.
Tell us, what motivated you to apply for the award, and what do you hope, now you've won it, well done, what do you hope will be the next step?
So the motivation was clearly the circular economy approach of this award, because, well, yeah, circular economy, or better to say cradle to cradle, is really the core of our invention. It was the last 7 years as I dedicated my whole voluntary life to this cradle to cradle, this way of thinking and way of producing our products to either circulate in the biological or technical cycle. And yeah, Circular Economy Award, we thought we need to apply because this is really our award. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well done. Well, we're so pleased you do. And can we ask what you might spend the money on?
Yes, of course. So yeah, as I said, so our mission is really to create a true impact on the global plastic pollution. And yeah, it is our goal to do that via establishing Traceless as an ingredient brand. So therefore, we need to create awareness and that people demand for the sustainable material. And to achieve that, we need to, on the one hand side, get all the certificates. So home composting, marine degradability, and so on. These cost a lot of money, and we are a young startup on the one hand side. And on the other hand side, we want to spend the money for communication for our ingredient brand, because this is really so important, not only to bring new materials on the market, but also to spend it for the communication for the end users.
I know. Well, thank you. Well done. Congratulations. Can we hope that you might join us as a juror in the future,
yeah, sure,
when we all meet together and we can shake your hand and pat you on the back, and
I would love to.
That would be great. Well done. Congratulations, everyone. Our Green Alley Award winner 2021, Traceless. Well done. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well,
really well done.
That's us. Thanks for sticking with us, those at home. I hope you found it as inspirational as I certainly did. A few final thank yous. Thank you to the tech team. It's not easy to do. There's so many people jumping in at different times. You know, fantastic job. Hopefully in Berlin, we'll be able to meet in person again, share a drink together. Well done. To Jean-Patrick and his colleagues at Lambel, thank you so much for making this happen. It's so important that we are meeting these people that are potentially going to be changing our economy in the future. To our jurors, thank you for sharing your time and expertise. Thank you for turning down all the bribes. You chose well. It must have been a hard decision. So thank you very much for that. To our audience tonight, yes, thank you for your virtual support and your encouragement. I'm sure a lot of you have followed the journeys of one of these particular startups, and it's difficult. It's hard. There are difficult times as well as up times like this evening. Everyone's a winner. Obviously, we had to choose one, but the other 5, pat them on the back as well when you see them, please. And thanks for joining us. And of course, to our finalists, needless to say, you're all winners. You are an inspiration to me, to everyone that's been watching this evening. The circular economy, it's a beautiful idea. It's perhaps the most beautiful idea that business has ever had. It's thanks to startups like those we met tonight that it's no longer just an idea. It's a reality. And then with every brave new startup, that reality becomes more real and more beautiful. So all strength to you, keep on going, and until next year. Thank you, everyone.